Hey there, pirates. Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Zoro awakened, Loki's demon eyes in his left eye. I know, it sounds crazy to say that Zoro might have awakened something like demon eyes in his left eye, especially a power connected to Prince Loki, who was just revealed in chapter 1153 with such an absurd, tragic, and mysterious past. But if we take all the elements the story has been hinting at, we can start to see a very interesting thread that connects the two. And yes, maybe Zoro doesn't even know yet that he's carrying this curse or ancient power, but I think Oda has been setting this up for years, and we didn't even notice. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Guys, since the beginning of One Piece, Zoro's left eye has been a real enigma. After the time skip, he simply showed up with it closed. It was never explained, no dialogue, no flashback, no joke from Luffy asking, "Hey, what happened to your eye?" Nothing. This is so weird that, in my opinion, it can only mean one thing. It's too important to be explained in a simple way. And now that we've met Loki, the son of King Harold, a baby with demon eyes who was thrown into the underworld and survived crawling, wounded, at the Atom Treasure Tree, I think it's all connected. Let's stop and think here. Loki was born with eyes like Sauron's, the narrator says, an eye that carries power, maybe a curse, maybe a connection to something older, darker, something the giants themselves wanted to erase from existence. The baby was cast away as if it were a plague, but it survived. And more, this child was associated with the curse of Loki, an idea that misfortunes will fall on Elbaf because of his existence. Now tell me, if a child survived that kind of rejection, crawled through the underworld, and was marked as cursed, was it really defeated? Or did it awaken something? Maybe, just maybe, these demon eyes are part of a lineage, or a specific power from Elbaf. It could be a forgotten or suppressed ability, something the giants consider too dangerous. And if that's the case, maybe this power spread. I don't think it's a coincidence that Zoro closed his left eye right after training with Mihawk. The Yoru is a sword with a demonic dark aura, almost like a mirror of the curse that haunts Elbaf. And if, during that training, Zoro came into contact with a power he still can't control, I know, it sounds like a crazy theory, but look how it fits. Mihawk never explained why Zoro needed to train his eyes again. He's a swordsman of precision. What would he gain by closing one eye if there wasn't something inside that he couldn't let slip? Maybe by training with advanced observation Haki, or even a variation of Conqueror's Haki, Zoro accidentally awakened something dormant inside him. Or maybe Mihawk awakened it on purpose to test if he could handle it. And here comes Loki. In chapter 1153, we get the whole story of Harold, Ida, Estrida, and how Loki's birth was marked by this demon eye thing. And what do we see at the end of the chapter? The Atom Treasure Tree. The same tree that's considered a divine resource in One Piece, used to create practically indestructible ships, like the Thousand Sunny. And there was Loki, a baby with cursed eyes crawling around this tree, wounded. So there's some energy there, some ancient force, maybe mystical, connected to both Loki's origin and his eye. Now think about Zoro. He carries the Sandai Kitetsu, a cursed sword. He's used Ashura, a technique that almost transforms him into a demon with multiple arms and heads. When he fought King, he awakened a completely new power by combining Conqueror's Haki with his swordsmanship. And now, with the giant story becoming more relevant, and with Elbaf being the stage for world-shaking revelations, maybe Zoro will discover that his left eye isn't closed by accident. Maybe, just maybe, Zoro is carrying within him the same curse or gift that Loki carries. It's possible that, at some point in the story, Loki and Zoro will have a more direct connection. Maybe Zoro will approach the Atom Treasure Tree, and the power sealed in his left eye will start to react. Maybe Zoro has ancestral blood from Elbaf. I don't know, the One Piece world is getting so crazy that nothing surprises me anymore. Or maybe in the past, Mihawk encountered this cursed child, Loki, and took part of this power to study. And now, he passed that dormant power to Zoro as a test, as a trial by fire, because only a true swordsman could resist the demonic power of an eye that sees beyond the battle. And there's more. Zoro has always been guided by an almost supernatural sense of direction, or lack thereof, and by a spiritual connection with the swords he carries. The Wado Ichimonji represents his promise to Kuina, but the Enma is something else. It's the sword that tested his soul, that forced his Haki to flow, that demands absolute control. And what if fully awakening this sword requires more than just Haki? What if it requires awakening the eye? I don't think Zoro's left eye is simply blind, I think it's sealed. And the seal might have been placed by Mihawk, or even by Zoro himself, because he saw what's inside. And he's not ready to use it yet. Not yet. But when the story reaches Elbaf, and it will, maybe that's where Zoro will will have to face his own destiny, because if Loki was cast away for having demonic eyes, maybe Zoro is the one who will show that this power doesn't have to be a curse. Maybe Loki and Zoro are two sides of the same coin. One was raised in darkness, hated by his own people. The other, a warrior who never bowed, but carries the shadow of something he still doesn't understand. And when they meet, Zoro's eye might open, revealing something the world has never seen. If Zoro really is carrying a power similar to Loki's, the first question that comes to mind is, when did this start? Because his eye first appeared closed shortly after the time skip, and to this day, Oda hasn't given a single hint about it. It's the only physical mystery among the Straw Hats that's remained untouched for over 1,000 chapters. And let's face it, this isn't because of a lack of time or interest. This is intentional. It's like a bomb Oda's been holding on to since the start of the final arc. I think Zoro will open his eye in Elbaf, not just because it's cool, but because it's necessary. And here's where Loki ties into the theory. Because in chapter 1153, when we learn the whole backstory of Loki's birth and how he was abandoned in the underworld because of his eyes, things get serious. What's even crazier is that Loki wasn't thrown out because he was weak, but because his eyes predicted his father's defeat at his hands. It's like one of those ancient prophecies, like Oedipus, but on a grander scale. And his mother, Estrida, even says that it was already predicted that he would be the one to bring about Harold's downfall. This is the kind of power tied to perception, or better yet, power linked to vision, to reading destiny. And tell me, what has Zoro always had? A closed eye. An eye that only sees when the time is right. Maybe, just maybe, this eye is sealed because it would see too much. And it might not just be about seeing the future, like advanced observation Haki. It could be something deeper, a kind of perception that connects the bearer to an ancient curse, like the children of the serpent or the curse of the earth god from the Elbaf mural. The eye might be a direct symbol of contact with that energy, and if Loki is from a lineage with contact to those forces, maybe Zoro inherited this in some way, and it doesn't need to be biological. Maybe by accepting to fight with cursed swords, he attracted the same kind of energy that shaped Loki. Think about it. The Sandai Kitetsu is already known to be a cursed blade. Enma demands more Haki than normal. Zoro has always connected with swords that test the body and spirit, and his eye might be proof that he's carried all of that to the point of reaching a spiritual limit, where his body can't handle it if the eye opens. But it will have to open. Now here's a part I really like, the connection to Zoro's Ashura style. This technique shows up very few times in the story, but always when Zoro is at his limit. The demon-like form, with multiple arms and heads, has never been explained. It never had a Haki name, never had a mode, it just happens, and it always feels like Zoro is invoking something. I think Ashura is a foreshadowing of the awakening of his eye. Maybe it's his body trying to release the energy from the seal, but because he keeps the eye closed, all that energy leaks into his fighting style. The fight against King revealed that Zoro has Conqueror's Haki, and he was shocked when he found out. He didn't even know he had it. Gaban confirmed in a recent chapter that Zoro really is one of its users. But was it activated just by training and willpower? Or could the sealed eye be a focus for this Haki, but at a much more dangerous level? Advanced Conqueror's Haki messes with the soul. And what if Zoro's eye is directly connected to the soul? Not as a power, but as an interface. Opening the eye would mean opening the soul to the world. And maybe that involves corruption. Maybe this eye is the gateway to some kind of ancient energy, linked to the giants, that Zoro needs to control or lose everything. Remember, Loki was abandoned because his birth was seen as the start of a curse. Maybe Zoro is already walking the same path. The curse isn't about destruction, it's about having too much power, seeing too much, being too much. Maybe just like Loki was cast aside for having the Eye of Doom, Zoro was kept sealed by Mihawk to prevent him from going mad. Maybe Mihawk didn't close it just for aesthetics. Maybe he saw what was inside. Maybe he said, this kid is going to have to open this eye at the right moment. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.